everyone. Welcome back to the I Love You Man podcast, hosted by me, Caleb Cavazos, as well as my brother, Seth Cavazos, behind me. We're really happy to be here on our 8th episode. I got one of my best friends, Sayfe Alzubaidee. He is a filmmaker out of Santa Barbara. I believe he was born and raised in the Bay Area. Is that correct?
Bay Area. I wasn't born there, but yeah, I was kind of.
He wasn't born there. We'll get into that. But he was raised in the Bay Area when he lived out here in California. Went to SBCC for the first time last year. He was in my film production 1 class with Zen, who was the guest on the last episode. We became instant friends within like the first month of meeting each other. We've been making films together ever since. We got a new film that we're going to definitely be talking about that's going to be coming out soon, as well as a little special surprise that we're going to be announcing later in the episode. So I'm really glad to be talking to him. Welcome to the I Love You Man podcast, Dave.
Dude, it's great to be here. I feel honored. Yeah, dude, this is a great setup. It's my first time ever being on a podcast.
Well, we're really glad to be having you here, dude. I'm sure you got a lot to say. I'm sure this won't be the last podcast that you're on, whether that be the I Love You Man podcast or any of the future ones. I'm sure I'll see you on Joe Rogan one day, and you're a big director.
He's talking about grizzly bears.
So, Sayfe, I really wanted to talk about, just kind of your growing up. You said you weren't born in the Bay Area, but that was your home while you're here in America. Tell us about kind of your early life, if you don't mind going into that.
Oh, yeah. So I was born in Indianapolis. A lot of people confuse that for India for some reason because I'm brown. But yeah, I was born in Indianapolis. But my family was living in Dubai. My mother was visiting my cousin when she gave birth to me. So I am an American. But then I immediately moved to Dubai, which is where I lived for a few years of my life. And then because of divorce complications between my parents, I've been all over the world. I lived in Jordan for a few years of my life, lived in Canada for a few years of my life, back to Dubai. And then around the 5th grade, 4th grade, 9 years ago, or 9 or 10 years ago, I moved here to the Bay Area, and that's where I've been until last year, where I moved to Santa Barbara. And I started on my journey of filmmaking. So
out of all those places, which one was your favorite?
Oh wow, that's a good question. Well, to be honest, I feel like I was too young to correctly. I mean, I have visited Dubai ever since, but I feel like Dubai is a great place to be if you're
Rich.
If you're a tourist and you're rich. Yeah. But if you're just living there, it's like kind of normal.
It's kind of normal.
You kind of get used to everything. But my favorite place so far is probably Santa Barbara. To be honest, there's so many opportunities here. There's so many amazing people here. I've had the best experiences so far. Yeah, that's probably it. Yeah, I've had the most
Santa
fun
Barbara is a heck of a place. When I first got here, I immediately was like, I'm going to definitely be staying here for a good amount of my life. It's really beautiful, great people, just amazing weather. So yeah, we're really glad to have you out here in Santa Barbara, Sayfe. And hopefully you'll stay out here. Hopefully, you'll buy $1 million mansion out here one day. Who knows, dude? But so you traveled all around the world when you were younger. Grew up in the Bay Area, kind of had the typical American high school experience, I'm guessing, over there.
Yeah.
What was some of your highlights of that? Just coming to regular high school and just getting through that. What was that like for you?
The biggest, I think it's just sorry, I'm going to put my phone on silent. I think the biggest advantage to where I was probably the theater program in my high school. And I think that's where I first started to realize, this is what I want to do with my life. I kind of want to be an artist. And that's mainly because of the program and the director there, and just working with him and working with the people around me. And it really taught me how to be hardworking and not just do things for the sake of doing it, but like when we were working on our scenes and stuff, it really taught you how to care about what the hell was going on, about how to craft it so that, like the people who were watching it could leave with something. It taught me how to like make things that were honest, or make things that were honest to you as an artist. And I think that's kind of what inspired me, just in general in my life. So yeah, that was the best thing about high school for me.
Wow, I definitely want to talk about this because a lot of people on the camera don't know. Sayfe is an incredible filmmaker. We just had Zen on the podcast last week. You got to see, we talked about his first debut film, which was also his debut acting role. Sayfe, on the other hand, has had a lot of acting chops in his life. You want to kind of talk about what was the philosophy of your director in high school that kind of like morphed your acting chops and kind of showed you what it is like to be an actor or what acting means to you?
That is a good question. I think it's about honesty. It's really about like he had a quote from someone, I don't know, but I think it's Michelangelo or something, where it's like there's always a character, right? And you have to think of it like a stone, right? But somewhere in there is that sculpture, and you just have to chisel that part out. You know what I mean? So when you're looking at a giant boulder, the sculpture is already in there, and it's your job to kind of just take away the parts that aren't necessary. And I feel that way about acting. It's just that you can kind of relate to almost every single character. I mean, yeah, even like murderers and everything, you can kind of see the feelings behind what they do. You know what I mean? So like acting is just chiseling away that part of you, that boulder in you, so you can get that sculpture and basically give that character the justice that it deserves. That's kind of what I take out of that.
Okay.
Yeah, what I take out of what he had to say about acting itself.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, when it comes to acting, like I feel like I've always been someone that's like a little nervous to act. Like I wouldn't be someone that's rushing to the screen. My brother Seth's actually going to be taking his first acting class at SBCC this coming fall, which is starting on Monday, which is great. So like, what is some of the advice you would give to young actors on like how to kind of get out of that nervousness, how to kind of commit yourself to the scene, how to kind of get into the headspace of the character? It's like, what's kind of the steps that you take in order to kind of really understand who the writer is trying to make this character and like how you take on that personality?
So definitely is you just have to make a plan, right? Like everything, you know, like if you just try to go on stage just memorizing your lines and you hope that it will work out, like obviously you're bound to fail, right? But if you're ever preparing for something in anything in life, you're gonna have to make a plan. So I'd say definitely if you want to get into acting, I'd say take theater. Do any sort of theater, okay, because that definitely gets you out of your comfort zone. You're going to do a lot of exercises that make you get out of your comfort zone. You're going to be having to go on stage in front of a bunch of people and just be vulnerable. You have to embarrass yourself in front of people. And I think that's the best part of it. I think that's where you get that little adrenaline. You feel like you did something you're embarrassing yourself, right?
Taking the risk.
You're taking that risk, right? But like even then, like if you're doing a comedy, you're gonna have to do some stupid things on stage, and that part that really gets you warmed up. So then you'll get to the point where you can pretty much do like if you want to, you can pretty much do anything on stage, and then getting past that's when you actually start to work on the actual craft of the scene, and you have to actually work on, okay, well, what is this? What is going on behind this? What are these characters trying to do? Because in every character, like in every scene every character has an objective, and every character has something they're trying to do to get that objective. And that's basically their actions, right? It's acting. You're doing actions, and you're trying to do them with a certain intent. You're trying to do them, you know what I mean? You're not just doing things because your director told you to. You're doing them because you know that's what the character wants to do in order to achieve something, and then you actually have to try to do it. Like actually, again, another quote is like the audience can smell like a lie. They can smell the lie. So if you're trying to look like someone who's doing something, you're just gonna look like someone who's doing something, right? So when you actually want to get into a character, you kind of have to do the things that they're doing with that intent in your mind. And it takes a lot of practice. Obviously, I don't think I'm even a great actor yet, I don't even think I'm a good actor yet, but I like.
But you consider yourself an actor, you know what I mean? You're still part of that crew. You still know the principles behind it. You still have. I don't think
I'm good enough to lecture about it. Okay. I'm just telling you what I've learned from people who have acting experience. But yeah, that's what from what I've learned about it, that's what I would say is. Okay.
So what was one of those early roles, or maybe one of your first roles, where you're like, kind of clicked, where it's like, okay, I actually get it. Like I actually understand this character, and I can become this character. Like, who have you had the most confidence playing in your life?
Well, I wouldn't go back to the plays and musicals, because I mean, I guess there are some characters there, but like a lot of the scene work that I did, I definitely resonated with a lot. Even when I was a freshman and I worked on my first scenes and I'm working on my first monologues and stuff, I think the first one was we had this exercise, right? And we just kind of had to lip sync someone else's performance. You know what I mean? It could be from anything. It could be from a show. It could be from a movie. And you just had to lip sync like a monologue from them. and that was kind of to get us out of our comfort. You know, we're doing someone else's thing and we're just kind of copying them. But I did something from Naruto. Yeah, and I think that was when I was like, oh yeah, I kind of feel like Naruto right now. like I kind of understand why Naruto is doing this. So yeah, I think that was the first time I was ever like, okay, I feel connected to a character.
Wow, that's sick. Yeah, when you think about acting, you think of a lot of like scene work. You think of a lot of games. It seems like actors are always kind of doing like a little bit goofy things.
In Juilliard, they have a class where you're just an animal for the entire class.
So what is it about those games that like, or those types of exercises that really help you develop your acting chops? Is it just the idea of, hey, we're pretty much just having fun, we're playing make-believe? Is it trying to take out the serious element of it to make it more like gamey, or to make it more like more fun and goofy? Like what is the purpose behind that?
I don't think so. I think the fun and goofy stuff is just to help you get used to it. Like it's like I don't know, if you ever want to start working on something, you kind of just have to get all the jitters out. You have to get all the like nervousness of working on that thing out. So like I feel like artists when they're about to draw, they'll just draw something stupid, or they'll scribble all over the page so they can get that out of their system. So they want to actually start working on something. They got all of that out, and now they can actually, you know, like work on the actual what they actually want to put on the page. You know what I mean? And what they think is worth putting on the page.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, because when I see a lot of acting, it seems like, I mean, not a lot, but just the acting classes that I've observed, it seems like it's very loose, it's very like fun, but I can see how that kind of, you know, gets that jitters out of the system, so that when you do want to take something serious, you kind of already got those jitters out. You've already embarrassed yourself a little bit.
Yeah, it's because you're not supposed to ever take yourself too seriously, because it's not about you. It's never about you. It's about the character that you're playing, right? Right. So I think that like, yeah, that's the point. You're not supposed to take yourself seriously at all, and you have to be willing to be vulnerable, to be extremely vulnerable to the point where like people are watching you like scream on stage. People are watching you cry. People are watching you like, I don't know, I don't know if you're doing a scene where you're getting beat up by somebody. You know, like not a lot of people want to be seen as weak. Not a lot of people want to be seen as that. But as an actor, it's your duty to kind of put yourself in that situation so that you can do it as much, you can deal with it with as much integrity as you can. You know what I mean? Like, this isn't about you at all. It's about the character. It's about the work of art that you're making by like being in this scene. So yeah, that's what I'd say.
Okay, yeah, I can see how that type of philosophy can help you become a better director, because even as a director, you kind of have all this pressure on you, like, this is my movie, this is my vision, I have to make it exactly. But if you have that kind of experience as an actor, especially when you're playing the main character, a lot of them, like, you know, the sets I've been on, you know, you got the main character there, they're doing a lot of the work, but at the same time, once that's cut, you know, you got so many other people preparing them, giving them directions, setting up different shots. It's like you could really see, okay, even though on the screen, everyone at home, they see the main actor kind of putting the entire film on their shoulders, when you're kind of in the background, you can see, okay, there's actually a lot more people on this. This is not just the actor's vision.
Yeah.
He's just another chess piece in the game. What do you think about that, and your experience in acting has led you to become a better director and a better writer?
Well, obviously, film and theater are all the most collaborative arts that I've ever seen, that I've ever been a part of. You know what I mean? Every single kind of art comes together: music, costume design, production design. It's just basically everything comes together, and you're making something out of it. So it's not just about what's on screen. You're right, but yeah. So when you think about that, you're seeing the actors on screen, but sometimes they don't even get a say. They're just doing the part. You know what I mean? And that experience is actually what led me to want to filmmake, is because when I got out of high school, I was like, okay, I want to be an actor. How do you become an actor? Well, you got to act in things, right? And I started acting on different short films.
In SPCC or in high school?
No. Like after high school, okay. I did a year at my local community college.
Oh shoot, I didn't even know about that.
Yeah, yeah, it was fun. But I started working on like 2 or 3 short films. I did 2 or 3 short films. And then I was like, the entire process, I'm just getting told what to say. Well, I mean, obviously in a lower level, they don't really give actors freedom. They're just like, okay, say this way, and you don't really get to think about it. You just want to do it how they want to do it, right? But I'm acting, and I'm like, wow, filmmaking is not about the actors at all. You know what I mean? Like, there are people, the director gets a say in everything. He, like, exactly how the director wants it. Obviously, like, it depends on what director you're working with, but if a director wants a certain thing to happen exactly how they want it to happen, it's gonna happen, right? If they're working with the right people. So that kind of inspired me. I'm like, I can pretty much make, if I am the director, I can pretty much control everything that's happening, right? And if I'm and I thought that, okay, well, you know what? Let me just try filmmaking. Let me try to see what it's like behind the camera, and I loved it. So yeah, that's.
Wow. So what was some of the first early things that you've attempted after you made that decision? Like, did you start trying to write something for yourself right away?
Yeah, I started writing things. I wrote like a few scripts. I don't know if they're the best scripts at all. I mean, I don't even think my scripts now are that great, but yeah, I wrote a few scripts that I planned to direct, and then like once it came to I finished the script, I'm like, okay, how the hell do I make this? Like, I don't even know where to begin. I don't even know where to start. Like, I don't know who to talk to. And then you realize, okay, well, it's not just about writing a script. You have to write a script for the screen. You have to write a script that you're able to do. You can't just have a helicopter.
Right. Helicopter scene,
yeah,
car chase,
yeah. You can't just do that.
flying off a bridge.
Yeah, it's pretty much. And then also you have to be able to work with people. You have to like it's very social. You have to be on good terms with a lot of people. You have to know how to convince them to give a shit about your work, because on this level no one's getting paid. No one's like no one has any incentive to give a crap about your work besides the artistic value that it has. Besides, they think, okay, this could be pretty good, or hey, I like this guy, I want to help him achieve his vision, right? And that's hard to come by, because you know, a lot of people really just don't care. They just want to do their own thing. They're like, I want to be a writer, I want to be a director, I want to make my own thing. Like, who cares about like doing other things? That's what I find with most like community college. And well, yeah. But also I've been there, right? Like, I've been like, I only care about my own film. But it's important to work with other people and work on their films and be humble about it, and just help them in any way that you can. That way you can make those connections with those people, and then they can help you when the time comes, and they can be in that position for you. I think that's important, and I think that's what I've been trying to do. I did that with Zen's film. You haven't made anything yet.
Yeah. Yeah, we need.
Well, yeah, when are you making something?
Well. Yeah, I need to definitely get Zen involved and Sayfe on my next film so that we can just really make something really good. But yeah, that's true. So what he's trying to pretty much saying is that, you know, you really can't get everyone to get on your same level, but if you could be that person for someone else, you know, is if you're working on someone's film and you're showing all the passion and you're showing that you really care, they're more likely to kind of do the same for you in the return.
Yeah.
So you wrote a couple of scripts. You said you didn't like them that much. Maybe they weren't even, you know, doable at the time. But you did make your eventual first film. So, like, what was kind of the process of getting that done? What did you like about it? What didn't you like about it? What you learned from it to apply to your next one?
So I learned a lot more from The Way Things Are than I did from the actual film that I actually made. So basically, if you guys don't know, I started working on a script like last year, like November-ish. And I really fell in love with it. I loved it. I think it had a lot to say. It had in such a short amount of time, it had a lot to say about a lot of things. And that was the first script I was like, okay, I think that if I make this, it would be decent. Like, I think that this kind of represents accurately my creative vision, this script. And so I worked my ass off on it. I did a lot of pre-production for it. And then I used the directing for camera class in order to use the tools in order to make it. I was supposed to make a film under 7 minutes. I wanted to make this film 50 minutes. I was going to make a cut for the class, just so that I can, you know, get those credits. I didn't really care about the class that much. I just cared about this film. And then I started working with other people, and we started getting to work. I think we did a great job in the pre-production phase. And I used the school as the location, the CC school. So it's a school shooting film, and I needed to use like hallways and a classroom and stuff. And we eventually did get the permission kind of to film there. which was then revoked 2 days out. And it's like I was doing rehearsals with my two actors, Daniel Simoni and Andrew Sippin, and I was like doing rehearsals with them, and I get a text, bad news, man, from James, and he's like, I get a call, and he's like, dude, they literally emailed me. They're like, you can't do this anymore. 2 days out from production.
What was the reason they gave you?
Multiple different reasons. They kept changing it. But the first one is like, oh, you can't. So we wanted to bring a prop gun on, and it was going to be during a day where the school's closed because it's a weekend, and we were going to have it enclosed space. Like, we were going to lock the room, and only the people that were crew and actors were in there. And at first, they were the person that I was dealing with was like, that's all right, you can do that. But then they revoked that, and we're like, fine, we're not going to use any weapon. I was just going to imply the gun,
right.
and do close insert shots of it. And then eventually it went up to a lot of different people. It went up to the president, went up to the vice president, and some other people went up to the security team, and they all were just like, we don't want to do this. And I went and I talked to all of them. I emailed all of them. This was the day before our first day of shooting. And I'm just talking to them, begging them, I'm like, what is it? What is it about this? And they're like, oh, we just don't like the topic. And I was like, this film is about what you're doing right now. It's like, you can't have an open conversation about this at all because people are just like scared of what it would mean to have a conversation about these things. Right. And because we don't have a conversation, it just keeps happening. So I was telling him that, and I was like, what about the script can I change for you? Like, I'll change anything at this point. I'm desperate. And he's like, I didn't even read the script. I was like, there's no way. And he was like, yeah, I just don't want like the perception of an unsafe environment in the school. And I was like, you don't think that the students can discern that this is a short film? Like, you think the students are going to watch this film and think there's an actual gun on campus? You know what I mean? And I was like, I think that it would kind of do the opposite, because if they're going to be scared, they're going to be scared of the news, dude. Like, there's school shootings happening like almost every single week. Like, so like what is wrong about me portraying this in the light that it deserves to be portrayed, right?
Right.
They just wouldn't budge. So then I was desperate. I have like 3 weeks until my assignment is due, and I'm like, I just got to make something. And I was kind of depressed. About it, I was just like, I'm just gonna make whatever the hell. And I made this. I made The Beautiful Game, and I'm sad that I didn't get to put as much time that I wanted to on it. But I'm super thankful. Dude, I'm thankful for Vinny and Xavier and everyone that came on last minute to help out. They were really kind about it. But yeah, now I'm watching it, I'm like, that this isn't what I wanted to make. You know what I mean? This isn't. But obviously, like, it was a great experience. Mm-hmm. Now I know what it's like to be a director on set. Now I know what it's like to know what coverage I need to get, to know how to work with actors in a certain way, to know how to work with a DP, to know how to work with just how to work with crew in general. And yeah, that was very good. But I guess I would say I'm not exactly proud of it in terms of,
you think it could be better?
I think it could be better, but I'm proud of what I did.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm proud of how I dealt with things. I'm proud of the stress that I managed to deal with, and I'm proud I eventually made something. You know what I mean? I didn't think I'd be able to make anything. You know, so.
And I think that definitely kind of plays to like your ability to be a good director. You know, a lot of people always say, I think I was just reading this Christopher Nolan quote that was pretty much saying, it's not about how good of a film you make. It's about how good of a film you make under the circumstances. Is because there's always going to be something that goes wrong. There's always going to be someone that doesn't show up a certain day. A shot's completely overblown with the outside light. It's unusable. It's the ability to always adapt and stay in the grind and just kind of have a finished film at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Because if you give up, you're just not going to have anything to show for it. And all of that work was for nothing. So even though, you know, your first film didn't actually get onto the screen, we never got to shoot anything with it, I think your ability to say, okay, you know what? I need to drop this. This is not going to be doable. I'm going to write something and I'm going to direct something.
Yeah, it was kind of against my will. I was trying to see if I could contact all the high schools in the area, and then we're just you know what I mean? Like all my crew.
Or the fact that you have a plan B though. You know, you're trying that, and then at the other side of your brain, you're like, okay, well, I might
I know. And the thing is, at this level, at any level, the crew had things. They have this was the only weekend, and they set it apart for me.
Right.
And I was grateful for that. And so, if I can't have the shoot on that weekend, then I don't think I'd be able to do it at all in the next 3 weeks, because they have other things to do with their lives. They're working on other things. So, yeah.
And that was kind of an experience of last year. That was a student assignment, and you got it done. You got the 7 minutes in, and you finally can say, I have a film out there. Go check it out on YouTube. I directed it. I wrote it. So that's really good to have that just on your resume and just done. And it's definitely going to help you out even more, the fact that you did that on your next film. So what's kind of the stage that you're at with this next film that you're coming up with? I know it's definitely not 7 minutes, and I just kind of want to know, and I want the audience to know about it. This is going to be something we're both going to be working on the next couple of months. So it's going to be a huge process. Just kind of where's your headspace at with it now? Where do you envision it in the next couple of months? And where do you want to go with it? And
so again,
listeners help out.
Yeah. So learning from my past film, I was like, I like the shots. The shots look nice. I like the way I kind of directed it. But I was like, there wasn't a story that I was like, I don't like the story. There's no story. There wasn't really a good
compelling
story.
There
wasn't a compelling story to that. So that's what I was kind of working on in my next script. And I originally intended to make a 5-minute film. And the film's called Fish Suicide Hotline. And it started with me looking into, I was at an aquarium and I was looking at the fish, and I just felt like this is the greatest sense of existential dread. Like I was like, these guys, they have nothing more to their lives. Like they're just swimming around. And so that's where I kind of got the basis of it. And I came up with this creative idea on how to tell a story around that. And so it went from 5 pages to 10 pages to 20 pages to 30 pages. And now I think it's going to be at 35, 40 pages once I finish it. A big problem of mine is that I'm procrastinating a lot. I'm a big procrastinator, and when there's no deadline, I'm kind of just like, oh.
I feel like most artists are like this. I feel like most of our generation are just really bad at procrastinating.
Procrastination comes from being scared. I think the most thing is like you're scared to try hard. You're scared to work on something because you're scared it's not going to be good. You know what I mean? So you'd rather just, I don't know, watch another TikTok than get to work. You know what I mean? And I think it's important to just get over that and just do it. And that's something I'm going to be working on for the rest of my life. I'm not saying that I'd ever, but yeah, so once the script gets done, it should be by the end of this week.
Okay.
And once it's finalized, we can start getting to work on it. And then I think that this is something that I'm going to put a lot of work into. I think I'm going to put everything into it, put all my money into it. Definitely have to fundraise for some for some of the budget, but yeah, this is like something I'm okay. This is something I stand behind. I love the message of this. I think it's super cute. I think it's also super honest. I think that it portrays all the characters in the worst ways because they're just like humans. You know what I mean?
Kind of give a film synopsis to the listeners out there. Just
So basically, it's a romance. About this guy who has a horrible scar on his face, burn marks from when he was a child, and basically the film is about our insecurities and how we deal with them and how we deal with our scars and our wounds and how we try to heal them. And all the horrible ways we try to do it, you know what I mean? Like whether it's through someone, whether it's through drugs and alcohol, whether it's through promiscuity, all these different kinds of things, and how we try to fill like a gap,
fill the void,
fill a void in ourselves, whether it's through bullying or all these different things. So all these characters are just trying to it's like the message is not very obvious, but very subtly they're living their lives and they're really just trying to fill that, and I think that's the message that I'm trying to send is what is the proper way to deal with your insecurities. And I don't think the film really has a solution. I think that it's just a very accurate way of portraying what our generation is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think it's definitely a film that's going to resonate a lot with the listeners, a lot with the newer generation. It seems like a lot of people out there are kind of in a kind of like a lossless space, and I don't know. It feels like our generation, it's kind of one of the first generations to kind of not have a strong sense of community or a strong sense of God, but it doesn't seem like we've really replaced that with anything. I always feel like religion was the biggest thing that united people for the longest time in human history. Mm-hmm. And then nowadays we don't have that because a lot of people kind of criticize religion.
Well, yeah,
they're kind of out of date, but we haven't really replaced it with anything.
We have replaced it.
Okay,
with
you're right. We haven't replaced it with anything good.
No, yeah, the thing is like, okay, well, we're not believing in God anymore. Who are we going to believe in? We're going to believe in someone or something or a concept as a God. You know what I mean? Like, you know, like Donald Trump was a god to some people. You know what I mean? And then they just kind of based their entire lives and all their ideology off of him. And it was like it's weird. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. And it can happen for anyone. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I don't think that religion is the answer or.
I don't think it had everything right.
I don't think it has the answer, but I think that the community, and I think that growing up in Arab countries and growing up with Islam is like I felt like, you know, I felt a sense of morality. I felt like everyone with me was we had meaning to life. You know what I mean? We felt like the things we did had meaning. You know what I mean? And obviously we struggled, but that struggle is for a purpose, right? And so when you take away that feeling of meaning from people's lives, then they just go on aimlessly through these struggles and they're struggling for no reason. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
So I think life is just about finding the struggles that you like dealing with and then finding meaning to them and applying meaning to them and doing that in a healthy manner rather than, you know, finding God in a certain ideology or a certain like concept or person. Yeah, I think that can be pretty dangerous.
Okay, yeah, I agree, yeah. And it's kind of that, you know, when you don't feel like anything has meaning and you kind of feel like the world has no meaning, then your actions don't feel like they have any meaning. So it feels like you can kind of just do whatever you want. And you kind of give into your worst feelings and your worst emotions when you're at a period or a state of mind like that. So like, one thing I just want to, while we're here, is like, what was some of the big changes that you saw within just the community and the civilians of the particular country, like when you went from like more of the Arab world into like America? Like, what was the obvious things? What was the things that you weren't so obvious that eventually hit you?
Yeah, it was kind of a culture shock. Well, honestly, like you're growing up in, especially Dubai, you're watching music videos. You know what America's like. You know what I mean? You know exactly what America's like. But you go there and I guess.
What is the perception of America for people in Dubai? Like, what is America like to them?
I guess it's both good and bad.
Okay.
I think you can.
So they do show the good, but then you also can see the bad.
Yeah, like you're like, oh, okay, Americans are stupid and fat. You know what I mean? But like it's also like, oh wow, they have like these cool artists. Like Drake is in America. You know what I mean? Like, like it's just Hollywood. Like you get to watch the movies and you see them all speaking, and you know what I mean. But you go there, you go to America, and I found that like there is. Yeah, obviously our culture is so, like, I think, okay, when people say America doesn't have culture, it's obviously not true. Like, everything has culture. But our culture is so, like, universal now. You know what I mean? Like, everyone is observing.
Like a global country.
Yeah, everyone is observing, because of the internet, everyone is observing American culture with their movies, with their music, and you know what I mean? But, like, you go there, and I guess what you'd say is there's no tradition. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Like, the tradition is very limited. You know, and everything's kind of new, and everything is kind of like a bundle of different people, and it mixes up like the melting pot. You know what I mean? But there isn't like you can't go. You don't have that feeling of community that we're all bound by tradition. That our fathers and our fathers before that and our parents they did this before us, and we're gonna do the same thing. You know what I mean? You don't have that, and I guess that also takes away meaning from your life. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'd say that.
Okay, for sure. And did you have a lot of family when you were living in Dubai and everything, or were you still kind of in your own world, or just kind of with your own immediate family, or did you lose like a sense of extended family when you came to America?
I did. I don't really have much extended family here. I have some living in Florida.
Okay.
But yeah, pretty much. I don't really.
So since then, it's kind of just been your siblings and your mom.
Just my siblings and my mom, and yes, that's pretty much it. But we're good. We're strong.
Right.
Like
That's good. Okay.
We haven't lost that like concept of family or the traditions either. I think that we're good.
And do you feel like your mom's like a major reason for that? Is she like really?
Yes,
dude.
She's
great at keeping the family together.
My mom is everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like my mom is everything to my family, and she's everything to me. And like I've her to thank for everything. You know what I mean?
Right.
She's the one who brought me to America. She's the one who made this life for me. She's the one who encouraged me to go out and follow my dreams. I think that if I was living with my father, he'd eventually convince me to be a lawyer or, you know, like part of his business.
So your mom has always just been really supportive, just showing up to your plays, just watching you, supporting you.
Yes.
That's a great feeling to have.
And also, not only that, she was supportive of me in ways that I didn't want. Like when I didn't get a part in the play when I didn't get a part in a play, she would go up to the director and talk to him and be like, why isn't my son in this? I'm like, Mom, please stop. Like, please stop. You're embarrassing me. And yeah, and I'm so grateful that she cared that much. You know what I mean? That she knew what I wanted, and she obviously it's not the right way to get things. You can't just demand things. You actually have to work for it. But I'm glad she did that for me because I can tell that she really cared about like what I wanted and what I wanted to do.
And it's always nice in the back of your mind. You have like, okay, well, if everything goes wrong, like I'll just get my mom to make a phone call and like maybe she can settle this for me.
No, it wasn't. My mom was very, I guess like in that aspect, she talked to the director because I wouldn't talk to the director. Like I'd never dare to ask him why I didn't make the show or like, why didn't you do this? I mean, I did make the show. I just didn't make callbacks. So that was different, right? But no, growing up, my mother made me do everything on my own. I had to get my driver's license on my own. I had to do all the forms. I just had to forge the signature. Like there was never anything that I couldn't do myself that my mother would do for me. And I think that was very helpful.
Yeah,
I think
that
made me
probably
very
definitely
independent.
helped you be. A lot of people come to college and they're kind of just like don't know what to do with themselves, and they're just kind of so in their head of like, I don't even know how to be a human. Mm-hmm. They're like barely learning how to do laundry for the first time, barely learning how to cook for themselves. It's like to have a sense of independence. Even when you're still in the home, I'm sure that helped.
I think I just have to learn I'm learning how to cook for myself. I think that's pretty much it. My mom made amazing food, and I don't think I ever had to worry about cooking for myself.
And that's years of experience that she had to get it to be that amazing.
And it's also like, her mother's recipes and stuff. So it's like her mother's recipes passed on from her mother's and her mother's, and I'm eventually going to start. I don't know why I haven't yet, but I'm eventually going to start getting those from her and cooking for my children.
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah. My mom, me and Seth's mom, she's like one of the best cooks. So it's like anytime we can eat her food, we can, but it definitely does suck. Like every time I make something, I'm just like, yeah, this doesn't hit at all as close to as it would if my mom just made it. So that's definitely true. Okay, so we got this new movie coming out. It's a love story. It's talking about insecurities. What's kind of the goal that you have for it? Like what are some of the things that you immediately want to do, rather meaning like holding rehearsals, making sure that everything's great, like the locations, like what's some of the things that we need to do before we actually get into the shooting process?
So writing the script I already had. Every time I come up with a location, I'm like, okay, I know where this is going to be. I know exactly where this is going to be. I know a friend that knows this place, like, you know what I mean? Like, and so in terms of location, I'm not too worried about it. Casting is obviously what I'm most worried about, because I really like the reason why the way things are. I casted Sippin and Daniel is because like I've worked with them before and they come from the same theater program as me, and I know that they're good actors. You know what I mean? And it was fun working with them because we kind of just had a we were just all on the same page, and that's I guess that's why I was so sad about the way things are, because I'm watching the rehearsals and I'm like, oh my gosh, like this feels so real, like this feels amazing. So definitely, I think this is an opportunity to work. Like when it comes to dialogue, I want to work with actors I've never worked with before and stuff, and try to like as a director learn how to work with actors better. I think fundraising is the number one thing. Yeah. I think promotion for it, try to get people to see it, and then the post production is what like I'm not post production, like after where you're trying to promote the film, because I don't want to just make this film I do want to make this film no matter what, right? But
you kind of want to get into the promotion.
I want to see if I can get into festivals and stuff.
In order to become a successful director out there, especially an independent director, I feel like you got to do a lot more on the promotional side in order to distinguish yourself from like a YouTube filmmaker kind of to like somebody that's going to try to get into theaters, someone that wants to work with the big budgets, someone that wants to, go higher and higher every time you can. Because I feel like there's kind of a plateau if you're just sticking it on YouTube. Sure, you might be able to grow a fantastic audience. And honestly, I believe that in the 21st century, you could be a YouTuber and be a filmmaker at the same time. For sure.
Have you seen the what's it called?
What is it? Raka Raka or something?
So Talk to Me. Talk to Me.
Talk to me.
That was good.
That was 824.
Yeah.
And those guys are YouTubers that literally started off making stupid little sketch on YouTube.
I know, but they're them working on YouTube. Like they accumulated like 10 to 15 years of just raw experience. They know exactly what they're doing. So when like I was saying, like as a director, you have to have a calling card. So once you make your first film, and someone and you want to start directing, if someone asks you, you're a director, what have you made? You just point it down. It's like, this is me. This is what I do. This is what it is, right? So Raka, they're able to do it not because they had a great script or great ideas. You know what I mean? They do it because they have a following. Number one, it's most important. It's because they think that people are going to see their work, right? But the second part is they've seen all these videos. They see that these people are capable of. These people are capable of doing this, right? Because they have all this experience. So I think the two most important parts of becoming a director is connections and experience, and the third part is having a good idea. I think the third part is having a good
artistic vision.
Something to say, because our directors who just make shit, you know what I mean? And
there's tons of directors out there that are working constantly, but they don't really. None of their stuff's any good.
There's nothing too special about it. You know what I mean? And then when you start looking at the great directors, they have all three. They have the connections, they have the experience, and then they have the idea, which means they have the money, and then they're able to make whatever the hell they want. Right. You know what I mean? So, I guess that's something that every director aspires to become, or every director aspires to be, but not all directors want to do that. Some people just want to make money, and then that's when you have like commercial directors. You know what I mean? They make a lot. That's where the most money is in film production.
You've had experience with that, working on a commercial.
Yeah, I did. I visited the set of an AT&T commercial, and I helped out with that, and it was just it was crazy to see. It's just how much money is being dumped.
So explain the budget, and then also like what the final product became out, because that's kind of the biggest trippiest part.
So it was like 4 days of shooting. And I was told that the budget is about $1 million, and it was 30 seconds. The ad ended up being 30 seconds, and the sets that they were making, the props that they were using, it was so convenient. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, we want this. They just have a truck come in and bring it all. You know what I mean? They lighting gets set up immediately on big giant cranes. You know what I mean? They wanted fake snow. They hired a fake snow company, dump all that. They wanted to make the road look shiny. They had a truck just dump water all over the road between every single take. They had a truck just pass by, just dumping a shit ton of water. They wanted a rooftop, so what they did is they were on location for a cafe, and they decided to build an entire rooftop behind it, so that they can it can be convenient for them to shoot. They didn't have to go to a suburban neighborhood and do that. It was a Christmas commercial, so there was like Santa and everything. But yeah, everything is so organized. Everyone is on it. The food is amazing. Crafty Services. They just had like a full tent filled with all the snacks. You know, I ate so much. And then they had trucks that you could go in, and they had all sorts of food. Like they had goose. They had goose. They had salmon. Just the greatest food. And I think seeing that really inspires you, because you're just like, wow, I want to do this, man. Like,
right. If this is $1 million for a 30-second commercial, like I couldn't imagine what it's like for a full-on production.
Yeah, no, because the commercials are the biggest thing. That's how that's how they get you to see their product and everything. And
they use that commercial for like probably 6 months, you know.
Yeah, no, but they're dumping out commercials. They have so many. And the amount of money that they make from those commercials, it's okay to dump $1 million on a 30-second commercial. But what's funny about it is I guess you don't get as much creative freedom as a director, because you see, like, there was this tent on set, and I was like, can I go in that tent? They're like, don't go in that tent. And I was like, what's in that tent? And it's just like 10 like I don't know, people in there from the AT&T, and they're all just sitting on monitors watching everything. They're just like watching everything on camera, what the director's doing, and they were like talking to the first AD, telling them what they were okay with, what they weren't, and if there was anything they weren't okay with, they just had to immediately fix it.
So really, it's the executives kind of become executive producers, and then
I don't know who was in there, but they were from AT&T. It was probably like an agency company or something.
Okay, yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. Because at the end of the day, people putting up all this $1 million is, you know, the actual company, and you're trying to do something for them. which I can definitely see how that completely gets in the way of the artistic or the creative process, because at the end of the day, it's meant to sell AT&T plans rather than meant to just sell an idea.
Yeah, and then I guess when it comes to like feature films, especially on like low budget feature films, they probably wouldn't. You'd have to work. So it's like, all right, you can work with big budgets, but you have to do exactly what you're told to do, or you can work with low budgets and you kind of have to be really creative with how you do it. But it's your work. You know what I mean? Yeah. Obviously, there's gonna be producers telling you what they want, what they don't want, but I think that's something that you have to stand your ground, and fight against it. So yeah.
Yeah. So that's definitely kind of shows you more. You've definitely seen kind of the business side of it, and you know how much money can go into it, and what the final product can be used for. So with your own film, it's like, what is some of the you said some of your advice that your director for camera gave you, or he gave you some advice on kind of what's the promotional aspect of it. So can you give us some advice? Or
you just have to stop. You can't shut up about your film. Like, you just have to tell everybody. You have to show everybody, you know, and eventually it's going to get into the right hands. And that's why I think it's important to do festivals. You know what I mean? To put that up on YouTube, put it up on anywhere you can, so that, you know, a person sees it and they're like, wow, I like this guy's work. I think that this guy can make me money. And then, you know, like, once it happens, then it happens, you know?
Absolutely. So, I mean, I really like that philosophy, because if you think about it, you're going to take out this, you know, we're going to make this first film, which is actually your second, but, you know, we're going to really promote this one, trying to get into festivals. And, like, once you're in that crowd, I feel like it's so much easier for you to stay in that momentum, stay in that crowd. Because in the more films you make, you already have those connections off of your last one, and you just keep on building it.
Exactly, yeah. It's also why I want to move to LA. Planning on moving to LA next year. Just so that I can meet people and work with people.
Yeah, absolutely.
I also want to start taking acting classes in LA while I'm in Santa Barbara. And I think that'd be cool, because then I can meet actors, talk to them, and maybe if I want to make a short film, I'm like, hey, you want to be in my short film? You know what I mean? And then you can make connections that way. But yeah, it's really about meeting as many people as you can, being humble enough to do the dirty work for people so that they can recognize you, and you can make those connections with them, and you can talk to them and tell them about your ideas. But yeah, it takes a lot of what I'm assuming. I don't have any experience in this at all, by the way. I'm just telling you what I'm assuming is going to be is a lot of persistence. And a lot of like ambition, and I think that's the way you get your foot in the door. It's like, we had a guest speaker. She was a producer on a lot. She still is a producer and director on a lot of the shows we watched today, and she came in because she was in Santa Barbara, and she was just talking to us about it, and she was like, there is no one specific way to make it into the industry, right? If the front door is locked, then you have to break in through the window. You know what I mean? You do it however you can, but you do it. And you have to have that plan. You have to have that vision to make it. You know what I mean, right? So, yeah.
That's what I really like, and I would love to segue into what the next thing I want to talk about. You know, when we're talking about making your way into the industry as much as you can, you know, a lot of people... Everyone has a different story to tell. Everybody comes from a different story. Everyone's at a different place in life. So there are some people out there that, you know, can get right into the industry right away, whether that's being a PA for a couple of years and then meeting the right people, and now you have your own budgets. But kind of the way that we're kind of seeing it is that we definitely need money. You know, you can't just we can fundraise every single time, but there needs to be some type of steady income to come in so that these films can constantly be made. So I feel like for a lot of film majors out there, you know, you have all of these skills that you get from school that no one else can do, really. Is that not a lot of people, I mean, a lot of people could put up an iPhone, record a YouTube video, but to really get the lighting down, to really tell a compelling story, to really get everything done, you have to have a filmmaker there, you know? So I feel like the commodity of a filmmaker is actually, they actually do provide some value, but where can those value be used? So kind of getting into the thoughts that me and Sayfe have been thinking about this for a while. So what our thoughts is, you know, maybe we start our own production company. And with that production company, we start doing client work. Like, what type of video services can we provide for people in order for us to support ourselves, as well as to put out really great projects? But kind of feel like the story and the mission behind everything is, okay, well, this skills that we're getting from making these videos, the money that we're making, we can use that to kind of make ourselves our own little studio. Exactly. And,
Yeah.
we could turn that money into our budgets for our films. So me and Sayfe got together the other day. Our homie Zen's involved with this. Seth right behind you is involved with this. But we're really dedicated. And I think the next step in our filmmaker journey is kind of just to go full on into the business side.
Exactly.
And just try to kind of make a name for ourselves.
Yep.
So do you want to give, the audience a little rundown on our production company, what the name is, what our mission is, and what we want to do for it?
Yeah. So again, we felt that it'd be very advantageous of us to start this because it only makes sense that if sure, we can work on other people's stuff, but it's important to make our own stuff so that we can have, number one, the calling cards, number two, the experience, and number three, fundraise to make our own stuff. You know what I mean? So we decided to start a production company, and I'm just gonna say the name. The name is Behind Time Productions. And our goal is basically to provide services to everyone around us and learn more as filmmakers, become more experienced filmmakers, and just increase in the quality of our productions to the point where we can start making money off of it, and then with that money we can make our own stuff.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much our goal. Like it's very independent, and I think it's something that I'm very passionate about. Yeah, I think that's something that we work hard enough, we're gonna make something out of it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. So I think that's definitely going to be like kind of the next stage of our lives, of our next lives as a filmmaker. We're Sayfe still in college. He's only 19 years old, right? He's 19 years old and he's so accomplished.
What have I?
I'm just saying, me at 19, I didn't know what I wanted to do, or at least I thought I knew what I wanted to do, but didn't really want to do it. So I feel like I kind of was held back. And just to see how young you are and how determined you are, it kind of gets me inspired, even though I'm older. So I'm like, okay, really, it is the time to just start grinding now.
It is, yeah.
I'm already done with college, so I'm going in full on to this just with a full-time job. You're still in college, so it's like if this thing all works out, you might
get out of college and I'm making money.
Yeah, you're gonna be making money right out of college. So that's kind of the goal for us.
Yeah.
But really, we're gonna be staying here in Santa Barbara, right? We really want to just see what type of services people in Santa Barbara are looking for. We do this podcast here. This is going to be a behind time production. You'll be seeing this on all of the intros for the podcast. We have the ability and the chops to make podcasts. So we're really going to be trying to leverage this skill that we've just kind of developed by ourselves, just having cameras, just having the ability to just kind of understand lighting, understand, a compelling story, set design. We can do something this simple. If we can make this in our own house, what can we do with a little bit of a budget, with a better location, with some people that are comfortable with being on camera and have a story to tell? So I just think we have a lot of luck with the video podcast servicing here in Santa Barbara as well as the other areas. And I just feel like there's a lot of things that we can challenge ourselves to do as well. And I think you'll be seeing a lot. I'd love for you to look up online, Behind Time Productions. We're going to be having TikTok, YouTube, Instagram page. Really, you're going to see a lot more. We're going to be challenging ourselves. Like some of the challenges that we talked about is maybe like starting some type of filming everyday challenge. Just to
we're going to start series to gain more attraction, entertain people at the same time. And I guess, again, like I've seen people do it, right? So it's nothing that we can't do. But again, back to the podcast thing, you guys should have seen Seth and Caleb setting this up because like I came in and I was like, wow. I was like, this is super legit. I was like, this is something that I don't know. I feel like it took the 8 episodes that you guys have been working on. You guys have really got it down. And I don't know. I feel like Seth and Caleb are so talented to the point where you can trust them in when it comes to podcasting, at least. I feel like we can do a really good job with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, 8 episodes in, go back to episode 1, see what that looked like.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Then come and look at episode 8. And if you're watching this in the future, then check out, episode 50, because we're really only trying to get better from here.
Yeah, and as we go, our quality's 100% going to improve, right?
Right.
And again, Caleb and I discussed the business model of just doing everything for free until
Exactly.
we get to a point where we can, we feel that we can charge people for what we do. So if anyone's watching this and you guys are local to Santa Barbara or Southern California area and you feel like you need our services, contact us and we'll do it for free.
Provide.
As long as you let us post some of it on our socials or something.
Yeah, exactly. And, that is really what we're kind of trying to stress, is that we really are on this grind. We really have a passion and a love for it. We understand we don't have, we haven't been doing this long, so we can't just go out there and just start asking people for money. So really we are looking for people to just, to make some stuff with. So, if you're a musical artist and you want music videos done, let us know. If you have a small business that you would like to get some more attraction for, maybe make some social media content, we can do all these types of things. If you're someone out there that feels like, hey, I'm watching these guys do this podcast and I feel like I can do way better than them, hit us up and we'll help you make that vision happen. It's like we want to be a multimedia company that can do a lot of things for people. And this is only just going to allow us to become better filmmakers ourselves.
And it pretty much can range from anything, right? Like filmmaking, commercials,
promo videos, live lectures,
comedy shows. We did
a comedy show the other day, which we would love to keep on doing more. So so this is a really exciting period of me and Seth and Sayfe and the I Love You Man podcast and Behind Times and Productions. We got a lot going on. We're really eager. We're ambitious. And we just hope that you guys fuck with everything. Seth's got an album coming out.
We're doing music too,
There's going to be music videos for a lot of the songs made by Behind Time Productions. So there's really a lot that we have on our plate. I know the I Love You Man podcast, it's not coming out on a consistent basis, which I would like. We're going to try to, really stay on top of this. Seth's going to be going to community college this fall. So we're going to be meeting more people, more guests on the show. Really always appreciative of all the listeners that watch this. I know a lot of them is just my friends and family, but every time I post an episode, I get so much feedback. They love it.
Hell yeah.
So just keep on looking out for us. Follow out our socials. We're going to be doing a lot more. We're really glad for all of you guys listening. But I'm really excited for the future of our production company, the future of our artistic journey. But Sayfe, I just thanks so much for being here, dude.
Dude, no problem at all.
I really appreciated that. I'm super excited all the stuff we're gonna do after this.
Exactly.
But just thanks so much, guys, again, for just watching every single week and just checking it out. I will say I just shot a music video for Treto. It's on his YouTube channel right now. It's called Kingsbane is the title. Go ahead and check that out. That was one of the first Behind Time productions. We're going to be putting that on our YouTube channel when we make our official launch. You'll be able to have a couple of different videos. But the artist already has that. He's already playing it on his YouTube channel. Go ahead and check out that song. It was really cool. Also, I just want to say, look out for Sayfe's film. This is going to be a huge thing that's going to be on my social media. We're going to be promoting the fuck out of this. We're trying to get money for it.
And I don't think I just want to do like GoFundMe. I want to like host fundraisers. Something I had an idea with the way things are was band shows, like hosting a band show and getting people to just pay to enter. And
wow.
That'd
actually be incredibly cool.
If you do a show, I can DJ it.
There you go. Yeah, if you find a place in IV, that'd be nice. We can do like selling clothes for selling merch. I don't know. Can anyone bake here?
We could definitely do a bake sale. Like we were saying, our moms are really good cooks. So we're a little bit crazy if we ask the family.
Drive 5 hours to grab my mom's cooking.
So this is definitely be something you'll be seeing in the future. We really want to get this film made in the next 6 months. We're really excited about it. All of us are really on this grind, on this mindset. So really just look out for this next film, Fish Suicide Hotline. You should see it on Instagram. You should see it on all of our socials. Check out our new content that we're going to be putting on the Behind Time Productions. But we have a lot of stuff coming out, a lot of content for you guys to watch. Really, I'm just really excited that this content keeps on getting better and better for everyone that's watching. We're just really happy to be doing this. We genuinely love it. It feels like it's not even work. It just feels like it's just our dream. And every day we're just trying to get closer and closer to take this to the next level. So thank you again for watching. All of the listeners of the I Love You Man podcast, we appreciate you tuning in. This has been Sayfe. That's Seth behind me. And I'm Caleb Cavazos, the host. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Peace.